Okay. All right. I think there's some good stuff going on here. I like the use of camera in this pretty well. Um, and I think I like the idea of the poses. Um, one thing to check is there's a few pops in here that we should look at. Like there. The arms swing kind of weird. The elbows and wrists are really stiff, so you might want to get the elbows and wrists involved. Here, uh, is you can't just move the head and the arm. You need to change the rest of the body. You see, the rest of the body is completely frozen, and that looks weird. So you're not involving enough of the controls in your poses. Let's take a look in Maya. So here, like if we look at this, the elbow isn't changing at all at the beginning there. So, don't like that. So, get the elbow and wrist involved because he's walking sort of like a robot. And also, the other thing you can add is some left to right movement. So, oh, wow, what happened here? Oh, okay. You really should be using this to move him, not that one. So, this one is meant to just rotate, and this one is meant to move and rotate. But by moving this one without, which you're really just supposed to rotate this one, by moving that one, you have left this other control behind, which is not good. Um, so at this point, I mean, you could probably get away with it, but the thing to do would be to delete the movement off of this one and then put it back in with the one with the arrows. So I mean, we can try copying and pasting. Let's see what happens. So if I don't, this usually doesn't work for some reason, but I'm just going to try anyway. Let's take that and then delete let's just delete just the translates off. And then let's go to this and delete anything on there. And then paste the translates onto this one. So far, so good. No! So I think it may have switched the X, Y, and Z, interestingly. All right, maybe let's try one attribute at a time. Okay, that's still working. Let's try again. So for this one, this is X. Oh, that's Z. Interesting. So this forward movement is Z, because you see it's being funny. So because when I move this, you see that Z change. And for this one, this forward movement, it's X and Y together. Why? Okay, so the answer is you're not going to be able to copy and paste it. So the only way to fix it is to delete it and reanimate it. So anyway, what I was going to say though is that when the character has his weight over 1 foot, like while this foot is in the air, the body will shift its weight over the foot that's carrying the weight. It will also shift the hip up there, and we can balance that out with these. Okay. Oh, you didn't have a keyframe at the beginning. You should keyframe everything on every pose. Just gonna pull this up all and set keyframe. Okay. So, and then for here, we want to make sure to, whoops, that's not the elbow. Let's get to the keyframe there. Make sure the elbows bend. Okay. So doesn't that already look a little better, a little less stiff? Um, Also, it's going to go. I'm just using this now because it's easier than fixing it. Um, go down a little bit there and up there. And then again, let's bend the elbows. Um, let's shift the weight over the foot that's carrying the weight. Whoops, is that the right control? Let's rotate it up. Let's rotate. Let me just turn everything off. Just turn the curves on so I only pick these curves. Let's straighten that out, and just make sure everything's keyframe. Okay. That's a bit exaggerated for these first two steps. Well, we only did, and then by here you'll straighten things out. It's a bit exaggerated right now, so you probably have to reduce that amount. But, you get the idea. Um, so be a little more subtle than I did, but I don't really like that. But just, yeah, start getting in those kind of subtle movements, but more subtle than I did it. And then here, he's just kind of like rotating around like he's on like like he's on a lazy Susan, like he's been pivoted. So what he should do, he shouldn't, it's not everything should rotate simultaneously. Like maybe he moves his head first, like maybe his head goes first. This is just one example. Oops. Okay. Already that I think will look a little bit better, instead of, well, it's probably a little bit fast on the head, but instead of having everything move together, you know, move the head and then maybe move an arm and then maybe move the body, so it's not all simultaneously because it looks a little weird just pivoting all together. You've got sort of a snap thing here. It's basically just that this is too fast. Well, there's some kind of pop there. That would be this one. Is that still on stepped or something? Let me change that to auto and see if that solves that. Yeah. Oh, okay. And then this now kind of pops. That's probably also has some stuff still on steps. Oh, interesting. Okay. So you've got a problem here. Yeah, there's some crazy numbers going on here. Look at that. It's weird how. So what I would do is take all these out. And let's say we want to get it to his hip there. It's going to be more on the shoulder than it is on the elbow. Maybe that's a little bit out, and then this is a little bit, and maybe like that. Look out for those. Try to get rid of any pops. This all looks a little slow motion. Oh, okay, yeah, you'll have to take out these two to get rid of that. Because you can tell that, you shouldn't have like minus 258, 245. They shouldn't, the numbers shouldn't get that high. They should stay between like 0 and 90 for the most part. So if you get really big numbers like that, something's gone wrong. That still says minus 355 here. When does that go wrong? Here. Right here. Okay, so see now the numbers aren't crazy and you can, get... Oops. And then again, you're not using this and this, right? So when he bends forward, and you're supposed to be keyframing every control, every pose, and not just like in these kind of random moments. So.
Okay, I'll type in the code and say it out loud. Okay, so G S.
So here I might,
J
rotate this back a little bit, but then rotate these down some. And you get a much better, a much more interesting, movement because you're involving more of the controls. So you should be using every control, every pose, and you should be keyframing every control, every pose. But yeah, so some good progress. I think there's a lot of areas for improvement on this, and look out for some of those pops. Like here's another one. Is that this thing? Let's just see. Maybe that's on, still is on step tangent.
No, G, yeah, G.
Maybe that's the wrist now.
S.
So make sure everything's on auto tangent. Don't leave any of the body control. Yeah, that's better. Okay. So yeah, a few things to fix and improve, but you've got some good fundamentals in there.